So, I want to move I'm ready to eat, into the main course, but now I want to transition into how did it happen? Like, how did you get the chef bug? Where did it come from? Did you wake up one night? Did you see a TV show? Did you go somewhere to eat? Like, how do you go from potential IT to Target to public speaking?
And I also taught. I was a teacher. I was educated. Didn't even get to that. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Taught almost 7 years.
God.
Yes.
Man.
So what I'm about to give to you right now is pasta. I love pasta because you can do so many things with it.
Okay.
Beautiful ways to manipulate it and just add tons of flavor. You can keep it simple though. A lot of people like to do heavy, rich sauces. Sometimes I don't like to overdo sauces because the vegetables that we have in this brought a lot of flavor.
Okay.
So we're giving you some millet-based pasta. Another thing that some people don't pay attention to is gluten. More people now are having gluten intolerances. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, gluten is a substance. It's pretty much a binding force. It's a protein that's found in wheat. But sometimes it does not agree with a lot of our guts. So in using this pasta today, I'm choosing to have millet-based. So millet is a gluten-free flour. Okay. It can still hold good texture and allow this canvas that we have right here for you to be well. So we did some sauteed bell peppers, used some zucchini and yellow squash, some mushrooms. Now remember, this is warm.
I'm not going to touch it.
One of the things I learned just my time being in a restaurant is one of the secrets to making sure plates come out hot is warming the plates. Gotcha. When you're at home, you never think about that. So a lot of times we put warm food on a cold plate. Temperatures will screw up flavor food. So you want to always make sure your plate or your bowl is warm so as your food is warm.
Makes sense. So we're going to get back to how you got into, being a chef. But I took an athlete to see Antonio Brown. I coached Antonio Brown in high school, so I have a pretty good relationship with him. And the athlete asked him, he was going into the draft. This was maybe 2 years ago. He said, "What's your advice to me? Going into the NFL." And people say what they want about AB, but that's my guy. He said, "Get a chef before you get a car." Do you feel that same sentiment about athletes and the eating and athletes and getting a chef, or is it overrated, or is it unnecessary?
I'm glad and I'm impressed that AB said that. And funny enough, I actually met AB during his combine training. So I did an internship.
Okay.
But we'll get into that a little bit later.
Oh, yeah, you did?
Yes. Because my background is in strength and conditioning. Yeah. I actually interned Pete Barbarito. Okay. So during a year that AB wanted to drive it, he was training with Barbarito. Yeah, he was training with Pete. I interned that same year. So I met him when he was back then. But I think that's a very valuable statement that many athletes miss.
Man, this is good.
Thank you very much.
This is really good.
And I put some fresh basil in there at the end as well. So you can get a little hit of basil. The sea salt. Sea salt brings it out a little bit more too.
God, I love
fresh
sea salt.
Cracked black pepper.
This is a... Hold on. I never would have thought to put this together. Like these vegetables in the same area. But it's so good.
Just bringing flavors, man. And the cool thing about it, I just simply took the time to saute down the onions, mushrooms. The beautiful thing about mushrooms, you can let them cook for a while. Okay. So mushrooms get more umami flavor the longer they cook.
What does that mean?
So umami actually is a 6 taste buds. We have sweet, salty, bitter, spicy, but umami is actually another flavor palette. Okay. And many people miss it, but umami flavor is really found in mushrooms. So people that don't like mushrooms, they're really missing out. You can do some amazing things with mushrooms. So let the onions and the peppers and the mushrooms come together. I threw in the squash a little bit later just because I didn't want them to get overcooked. I want to see a little bit of crunch in that. And the pasta was cooked before. So one of the things I also learned is that with pasta, you don't want to cook pasta till it's done. Undercook pasta so that if you're doing a sauce or other things like the vegetables, you add that in, and now it's going to absorb some of that flavor while it finishes off.
That's my problem. That's what I've been doing wrong. So this is really good. So what would you say about, athletes with a chef and athletes with their nutrition?
Man, I think athletes really should have a chef. And even if it's something as simple as meal prep, 'cause I get it. People assume athletes have millions of dollars. Everybody doesn't. Gotcha. So you got to find someone who can cook for you and control your nutrition within your budget. But it's highly important, man. Mm-hmm. Like what I've experienced in years of being around young athletes, high school athletes, many athletes don't care about their eating.
No.
And it's even worse for the athletes that don't care about their eating and are high performers. So they have the illusion that they can do whatever they want, and I'm great. Like, I'm not going to say names. I've heard interviews from a professional wide receiver. Brother only eats one meal a day, and I think that meal was like candy or something crazy like that. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these young guys carry these eating habits into college. And if they go to a nice D1 college, they'll eat a little bit better, but they still slack off. Yeah. So eating is not at the forefront of their mind to their performance. It's train, rehab, train. Unfortunately, that's what makes some young athletes believe that's okay.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, many of them can outwork a poor diet. A good example is Michael Phelps. I mean, I've heard tons and tons of stories that Michael Phelps ate whatever he wanted. Mm-hmm. And it would be like at least 6,000 plus calories. But he spent so much time in the pool and trained like nobody ever did, you would not know by looking at it.
Gotcha.
But ideally, for athletes that want to have high performance, and athletes that want to be able to recover, especially if you're a football player, which all football players play hurt, all football players are in some type of recovery phase, rehab phase, your food can extend or really shorten that recovery phase. And it's important to have a chef that understands a little bit more about nutrition as well as flavor that can help them do that on a regular basis and give them the things, the information, so when they're on the road and away from that chef, they at least make smart choices.
Gotcha.
That is so ideal.
It's about knowledge too. Like when you're away from the chef, then you still can get it.
Truly. And like they shouldn't have to wait till they're 32 or maybe let's say in their 7th or let's say, put it better words. They should have to wait till they're in there trying to get that third contract that they're figuring this out. Like I read Tom Brady's book, TB12, mm-hmm. and he spoke about that in his book. Like he did not take his nutrition seriously probably until maybe his 7th or 8th year in the league.
Wow. But
when he did, he noticed how great his body felt. He noticed how his recovery time was short. And he got very, very close. There's different people that say he was vegan, not vegan, but he did he was very focused on his nutrition regimen and doing a lot of plant-based eating along with that. But he felt the difference. So imagine if he felt that different in his rookie year. What would he have done?
I mean, I'm not on that level of like breaking down the food types. Like I've gave up red meat, and I've actually gave up chicken.
Okay.
Except when I'm in Louisiana and I go to Southern Classic Fried Chicken, I gotta have that. But I mean, I can tell a difference in my sleep. I can tell a difference in my body, mm-hmm. and it really does make a difference, And I'm on the lower level of it. I'm not. I eat more fruit, but I get what you're saying. And if you're on a high level like that, and you're just eating Popeyes and Churches and even Chick-fil-A, that's not really.
It's not cool. And I think the worst part of it is not the physical part, because once again, a lot of these guys still play great. You see them excel. They're still fast. They're still strong. They're still powerful. But the worst part is they're training themselves mentally. Uh-huh. And mentally what they're doing is setting themselves up for habits that are hard to break, because no one plays professional sports forever.
Yeah.
And we can look at, you've probably seen a lot of guys that played at 215, retired, they're like 300.
Yeah.
Because they have psychologically held on to this eating is okay.
Yeah.
And even though they want to eat better, they try to, we don't realize how addictive food is and how habit-forming food is. So if you're a professional athlete for, if you're lucky enough, 8 years, 12 years, and you did not really pay too much attention to your eating, you literally have programmed yourself to accept eating overly processed food, added sugars, fried foods. Yeah. You feel that's okay, so you continue to do it. And then what happens, your activities does slow down. Very few people, everybody's not going to be a T.O. Everyone's not going to be a Shannon Sharp that continue to just work out crazy. Like those two guys are phenomenal.
Yeah.
All right? But every athlete's not like that. So you slow the activity down, that eating now catches up. So now the tables turn.
You're not winning that battle.
No, you're not. You're not.
So how did you? When did the switch happen? What happened?
So this is going to be interesting how I say it. So I'll say it this way. Funny enough, I do have a full-time job.
Okay.
So I work for a company, pretty well known, hydration company.
You don't gotta say it.
They fuel a lot of people.
Okay.
So, but working for that company, I like my job. I enjoy my job. Mm-hmm. And people want to climb the corporate ladder. I wanted to as well. I wanted to come in excited. What can I do to do something different? It didn't happen for me. Mm-hmm. And I don't knock anybody for the rejections. I don't knock anybody who didn't give me an interview. But I learned from it. And the thing is, what I learned is if you're doing something that you like and you can't move up, you need to figure out where can you go where you will be celebrated and not be stopped for your level of talent.
Gotcha.
And I've always enjoyed cooking, and I used to really tell myself this. If I ever won the lotto, I would just quit my job and go to culinary school. And then one day it hit me, I'm like, dude, how the heck do you got to win the lotto to go to culinary school? Take out a friggin' loan like anybody else and go learn how to cook. Yeah. So one day, when that light bulb went off, I just started looking for culinary schools down here. Uh-huh. And when that happened, I was settled in and actually applied and everything went through. So I was going to start at the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale. Okay. And funny enough, this is how the universe works. About 3 weeks before I was going to start, the campus shut down. So they closed down the program down here and had one open in Tampa. I'm like, I'm not about to move to Tampa just for culinary school. Yeah. So now I'm like, what the heck am I supposed to do? But I'm really good friends with, not trying to name drop, but a gentleman by the name of Richard England, okay. Dwayne Wade chef. Gotcha. He was an educator. When I was an educator, we actually worked at the same school. Dope guy, crazy individual, and I applaud his success where he is. He still will answer the phone if I call, so I'm thankful that he's just a real dude. He didn't let success separate him from people. Mm-hmm. So he did an event. I wanted to support it. Went to a restaurant where he was doing a cooking event. Came through. Funny enough, at that time, when I was applying for a culinary school, the woman I was dating at the time had told the actual head chef of that restaurant, hey, he's about to go to culinary school. And the head chef said, hey, for real, well, if you ever want to volunteer, give me a call. All right, didn't think much of it. Didn't realize that I really needed that. Mm-hmm. So when I found the school was closed, I called him up and volunteered my time. So while I worked a full-time job, I made time when I had time to go in and volunteer several days a week for about a year. And I learned how to cook in an actual kitchen right in Miami. Learned how to be a prep cook. I got on the line a couple of times. So I really learned a little bit more about the business. And I was around chefs who went to culinary school. And one of the things that one of the chefs, so he went to CIA, which is the Culinary Institute of America in New York. He's like, dude, if you're not going to one of these top schools, you're probably wasting your money. So you're in the right place. You're learning live. You're learning this is what we do. So I befriended some of these chefs and they really just taught me a lot. I soaked up a lot of knowledge. I messed up here and there, but I learned a lot. So being there for that year, I soaked that knowledge up and just said, man, all right, I think I'm good. Let me get out this freaking nest and just try to fly. So I went from learning and volunteering in that kitchen to doing some meal prep. And I tell you right now, for anybody that ever thinks about doing meal prep by themselves, no, don't. It's not. It's not worth it. It's hard unless you have no. You're not in a relationship and you don't have kids. Go for it. But I had a son and had an ex-wife at the time, so I had responsibilities. So I could not afford to continue the pace I was going. Like literally, it was about a 4-day swing from getting clients, checking on clients, getting the meals, shopping for the food, prepping for the food, cooking the food, and delivering the food. That's a lot. Yeah. Not to mention, you got to maintain it. You probably got to crank out at least 200 meals to be profitable in that business.
A week?
Yes, every week. So for me, I'm like, all right, this is not sustainable. Yeah. So I just say, you know what, let me just shift the skill set and try to get in people's homes. That was the best move I ever did. But once again, relationships, your network. I can't stress this enough. Your network will make your net worth. Mm-hmm. So I leaned on my network to be able to get me into some doors and some places.
Who was your first
So leaning on one of my mentors, Pete Mombrito, he connected me to my first pro athlete client. So
your first professional in-house job was a professional athlete?
My second.
Okay.
So my first, this is going to be weird, but so my first actual in-house job was with a therapist because I was divorced, but trying to work things out.
Gotcha.
With my ex-wife. And we had a therapist. And the therapist, within therapy, she found out I like to cook. So she said, all right, well, she was trying to get healthier. So she said, can you make me a meal? All right. So I literally put together a smoothie for her. That's the first thing I ever did. First ever meal for a client was a smoothie. So made a smoothie. She's like, oh, that's good. You think you can make something I can actually eat for lunch? Made another meal. Then she invited me to cook for a birthday dinner, her husband's birthday dinner. So it was probably about 6 people at her house. Had to create a menu, appetizer, did a main course and dessert. That was the first actual paid.
Were you nervous?
Heck yeah. You're always nervous the first time. Especially, I was cooking steak. You can screw a steak up real quick if you don't know what you're doing. Okay. So especially when people say, yeah, I want my medium, I want my medium rare, I want my medium well. So you just get comfortable understanding meat temperatures. That is tough. And make sure it comes out right. Because when it's over, it's over. Yeah, so, but everybody was happy or pleased. And that helped build my confidence. And I tell that to anybody that's coming up in culinary. Anybody's trying to learn how to cook. Even just when I teach people how to cook in their own homes. A huge part of cooking is confidence. You have to be confident in what you do. With cooking, you have a little more leeway than baking. So you can let something be on maybe a little bit longer, maybe just a little bit under, and you can tweak that. You learn how to under season because you can build that up. When you over season, you stuck. You got to start.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I learned, got that confidence, and Peter hit me up and said, "Hey, I got a baseball guy that needs a chef. You think you can do it?" Yes. We'll figure it out, but yes. I tell you that you don't. When opportunity knocks, man, you better be ready. So I was ready. I'm like, all right, I got this. Yeah. I don't need to say the name. He was a pro baseball player. Played for the Boston Red Sox at the time. Mm-hmm. Had a spot for a lot of them. So it was weird though. We talked in person. He told me what he needed. I'm like, all right, cool. But he was going on vacation. So I'm like, all right. So I wasn't sure I was going to actually get the gig or not. But he also texted me and he had asked me, hey man, I need to get something in the morning. What should I do? I said, hey man, here's a recipe for a smoothie. I didn't think he was going to take it serious. This dude texted me back a picture. Dude, this joint is fire, dog. I'm like, yes, it is. So next thing he pops back up maybe 3 weeks later. Yo, when you coming by? Oh, shoot. All right. This is happening. And what made it even funnier or even more pressure, the first night I go cook for him, he invited like 4 other friends to the house. So I'm really on a stage on a real audition like, dude, you got one shot. What you got? Yeah. Yeah. So not only am I trying to impress the client, I'm trying to impress his friends. So I got to make sure everything tastes good. Because they're like, dude, I don't know about this cat. Don't bring him back. Yeah. So I cooked for these guys and came out well. And it really taught me a lot because working with him, we worked for like several years together. Okay. One of the things he taught me is every day is an audition. Nothing guaranteed. You're on a 1-day contract every day you're with me. And I keep that in my head to this day. Yeah. That I'm always on a 1-day contract. And every day you cook for somebody, it better be great. Put your heart and soul into it like you might not be called back. Yeah. So I learned a lot from that. So
you're talking so passionate about it. When did it become passionate?
And shoot. I would say, honestly, man, I think part of the passion was, again, remember, I was a speaker. I learned how to be a public speaker.
Gotcha.
So in speaking,
that's one of my things I want to check off. Like I want to get into speaking to kids and people and stuff about that's dope that I hear you saying. I'm like listening, like, oh, it can be done.
And schools want it and need it. Yeah. Just make sure you're coming with something that's really going to benefit them. Yeah. But you can speak at probably almost any school at any time because any principal that sees somebody that has done anything professionally and wants to be able to provide a certain benefit as far as information, resources, and knowledge to their kids, they welcome you to come and speak. So it is easy to go into schools and speak. Mm-hmm. Now, not easy to go in schools and get paid to speak, but it's easy to definitely just go and get an audience. Yeah. Now the question, once you get the audience, can you win them over and make sure they're not sitting like, oh, this one.
Yes.
No doubt. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. But so yeah, either way, my passion for food and really nutrition, it really kicked in maybe by my second year of cooking, when I really got to a point of just wanted to do more than just cook. I wanted people to actually feel something. I wanted people to have an experience. I wanted people to understand how food can benefit them. Now, don't get me wrong. I do not cook every single meal what is going to be the fittest meal, because sometimes if a client just wants something that's fried, okay. If a client wants a heavy meat dish, all right. But the cool thing about what I do is I get a chance to educate. That's why I love cooking in a home, because I can talk to you about how I'm going to tweak what you want to make it a little healthier than your initial idea.
Gotcha.
So that's one of the cool things I love about it, is just really that interaction of helping people learn something about food that they never knew, never thought about, and something they can carry over, whether they keep me on for 15 years or they keep me on for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They're going to know that, hey, Chef Pat taught me this. I remember this from Chef Pat. Oh, he showed me how to do this.
Yeah. So they're getting more than just the meal. They're getting some knowledge, something that they can take with them. That's dope.
Man, dude, that's the biggest thing right there, man.
Okay.
Want to save your HOA money on your home services while enjoying the benefits of living in a community? Pin Plus, the ultimate platform that brings neighbors together under one powerful concept: power in numbers. Communities can now negotiate group discounted pricing on essential home services, trash, pest control, pool maintenance, and so much more, all at unbeatable rates. Transform your home service experience today. Visit www.mypinplus.com today for more information.
All right.